How's it going, my piece? It is time for the Raw results / review video, and yes, I know I should update the logo on this video since, it is no longer the Raw Super Show, and the Raw logo altogether is just changed. So anyways, the show starts off with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out, and I don't know if it's just me, but right now, whenever Brock Lesnar comes out, I always expect to hear, well, here comes the pain on commentary, but then I remember that Taz is no longer on commentary, and Michael Cole never said that. So anyways, they get in the ring, they talk about last night's match, and then Paul Heyman claims that Brock Lesnar's the new King of Kings now, and that he's the conqueror of WWE, and then they bring out the referee for last night's match, Scott Armstrong. They want to talk to him. He comes out, and he's a bit scared of Brock Lesnar, and then Brock Lesnar just tells him, good job, and that's about it. So that's it for that segment, and then they announce that HBK is going to talk about last night's match via satellites on tonight's show, and they also show CM Punk on TOUT, saying that he wants to pick his opponent on Raw tonight. And then you've got a tag team match, 6-man tag team match to be specific. It's Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, and Cara versus Cody and the Primetime Players. The match gets, a decent amount of time, and at the end, Cody Rhodes once again tries to take off the mask off of Cara, but Cara rolls Cody up for a pinfall victory, so the team of Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, and Cara win the match. And afterwards, they announced that tonight we're going to have Kane and Zack Ryder teaming up, actually, to face off against Daniel Bryan and The Miz. And they point out that, the tag team partners for that matchup have had, some differences in the past. Namely, Zack Ryder and, Kane, where Kane threw him off the stage and stuff like that. And then you got Matt Striker backstage with AJ. David Otunga comes up to her, says he's back. He no longer has a goatee now. And he says maybe she could use some legal counseling so she can be protected, blah, blah, blah. And then AJ hears the word, protected, and she tells him to say that again. He says protected once again, and then she tells him to say it one more time, and then he just tells her to calm down and that he's just trying to help her and offer, his services. And then she says, well, you can offer your services in the ring tonight as you're going to face an opponent. And then Matt Striker asks AJ what she thinks about CM Punk's proposition where he picks his new number 1 contender, and she says she actually likes it as long as she approves, CM Punk's choice. And then you've got Ryback versus 2 jobbers. I thought they were done with the whole Ryback versus 2 local random jobbers, but I guess not. He comes out to, good reaction. Not as good as last time it was on Raw, but it was a okay reaction. Anyways, he comes out. He's about to win the match, but then Jinder comes out and starts attacking him, puts a camel clutch on, but Ryback, he counters that. He starts standing up while having, Jinder, on his back, and he hits that sit-down stunner, he does. And afterwards, Jinder Mahal just leaves the ring. He, gets away from Ryback, and Ryback hits his finisher on the 2 jobbers. And that's it for that. Afterwards, backstage, you've got Jericho on his phone, and then Dolph Ziggler catches up to him, and Dolph says he wants a rematch. And then AJ comes up, and she says, okay, she's gonna make a rematch between the 2 guys, but she wants to raise the stakes. So what's gonna happen is, if Jericho loses, then his contract is over, he leaves. But if Jericho wins, then he gets Dolph Ziggler's Money in the Bank briefcase. And then afterwards, you had Del Rio coming out. He talks about last night's world title match, how he had his foot on the ropes, he got robbed. And he says he wants a world title match right now. Then AJ comes out, says she can't make world title matches, only Booker can. But she's going to make a match tonight, right now. And that's going to, I guess, influence the world title picture. So then she brings out Randy Orton, who comes out for a match against Del Rio, and then Sheamus comes out for commentary. Towards the end of the matchup, Randy's kind of distracted with Sheamus. He looks at Sheamus, kind of, telling him that, hey, I'm coming for that world title. And then Del Rio takes advantage, hits a backbreaker or backcracker or whatever on Randy. He goes for the cover, but Randy gets his foot on the rope, and Sheamus tells the referee, hey, Randy's foot is on the rope, and the referee sees that Randy's foot on the rope, so he stops the count. Del Rio gets angry at that because, last night he had his foot on the rope, but the ref didn't see that. And on commentary, Michael Cole kept complaining that Sheamus is a tattletale, telling the referee that, Randy's foot is on the ropes when the referee couldn't see it. And then, as Del Rio's complaining to Sheamus, he turns around, RKO, and Randy wins the match. And then we see highlights of last night's US title match where Antonio Cesaro wins the match, and they show the tout that Antonio and Cara made right after the match. And then we have Brodus Clay coming out for a match against Damien Sandow. Pretty quick match. Brodus Clay misses a body splash in the corner, so Damien Sandow dodges that and rolls him out for the victory. After the match, Damien Sandow does his cartwheel, he turns around, and then Brodus Clay hits a suplex on him, followed by the body splash. And after that, they show a couple tweets from superstars talking about last night's match and if it's Triple H's last match. They're all like, oh my god, the match was so epic, oh my god, if this was Triple H's, last match, he was a warrior or something like that, I don't know. I guess they told them to, all tweet about the match. And then they have HBK via satellite. Michael Cole asks him about, the whole Triple H rumors about him, I guess retiring, or, that last night was the last match. HBK basically puts over Triple H, says he's a warrior, blah blah blah. Says that last week he told him that Triple H knew where HBK's heart was at, but actually he lied. Well, he didn't tell the truth, and he thought that it was the end for Triple H and that he couldn't beat Brock Lesnar. But he keeps on putting over Triple H, and at the end thanks him for a job well done. And then you have Big Show versus David Otunga. He's David Otunga's surprise opponent. It's pretty much just a beatdown by the Big Show on Otunga. In the end, Big Show just hits a knockout punch and gets a pinfall victory. And then after that, you've got The Miz and Daniel Bryan teaming up to face Kane and Zack Ryder. The match ends where Daniel Bryan is about to charge Ryder in the corner, but Ryder ducks, so he hits The Miz by accident. And then Ryder tags in Kane, and then Daniel Bryan goes to tag in The Miz, but because of the accidental, attack on The Miz refuses to get in and just gets off the apron, thus leaving Daniel Bryan there. So Daniel Bryan just runs out of the ring and runs through the crowd, and Kane still remains angry from that slap, I guess, from last night and the loss. So he gets back in the ring, chokeslams Zack Ryder, pretty cool chokeslam, I've got to say, and then he goes outside the ring, and he attacks the belt keeper too, and then he sees that Zack Ryder's getting back up, so he gets back in the ring and hits a tombstone on Zack Ryder. And then you've got a backstage interview with CM Punk. Matt Striker interviewing CM Punk. CM Punk thanks the GM for allowing him to choose his next #1 contender. He says the person he's going to choose is loved by the WWE Universe, and it's somebody they think, CM Punk can't beat, although he did beat him last year, though. But he says, well, actually, before he says it, I'm thinking that he's going to pick some jobber as his opponent, since, he's kind of like a heel now, but he actually picks John Cena, but he says it's on one condition, and he's going to reveal that condition later on tonight when he calls out John Cena to the ring. And that's about it for that. And then you've got a Divas #1 contender battle royale, which actually Kaitlyn ends up winning by eliminating Eve last. She goes for the clothesline to eliminate her, but Eve doesn't get out of the ring properly. So she goes for it once again, and Eve gets out of the ring. So there's a botch there, and it looked like Eve got cut under her eyes, because it seems like she was bleeding there, and it also seems like Tamina is back to being a heel again, because for most of the matchup, she was double teaming Alicia and Kaitlyn with Natalya. Anyways, afterwards, they show a tout of Brock Lesnar saying that he's got nothing to do anymore in the WWE. He's done everything he wants to do, so he quits. And then you've got another Wade Barrett video package. And then we've got Vicky backstage, complaining about the match, that, Dolph's briefcase is on the line. Then Dolph says to not to worry because he's going to win it. And then you've got Jericho versus Dolph. A good match, not as good as their pay-per-view match, but a good match nonetheless. The end comes where Jericho goes for the Lion Salt, and Dolph gets his knees up, and then hits a zigzag on Jericho for the victory, which was the exact same spot we saw on the pay-per-view last night. But actually on the pay-per-view last night, Jericho kicked out of that, but this time on Raw, he doesn't kick out of it. And this type of thing always happens on TV and on pay-per-view. On pay-per-view, they kick out of so many finishers, but on TV, one finisher, and that's enough most of the time. But anyways, yeah, so Dolph wins the match. He keeps showing off, going on the turnbuckle, posing, and then he turns around. Jericho hits him with the briefcase, and then hits the code breaker on Dolph. Actually, when he hit Dolph with the briefcase, the crowd started booing a bit. I guess they thought Jericho was turning heel, but at the same time, Jericho just got fired here. So, yeah, he hits the code breaker and just leaves. And finally, you've got CM Punk coming out to call out John Cena, but before he does that, he goes to the announcer's table, the commentator's table, and talks to Jerry the King Lawler and asks for an apology for, him stating that Punk turned his back on the WWE Universe a couple weeks back. And before Jerry the King Lawler, gives him an apology, John Cena comes out, so CM Punk goes in the ring, tells him he should have waited. He steals the spotlight once again. They go back and forth for a while. At some point, John Cena says the only thing people remember about CM Punk's championship reign is CM Punk blowing a kiss to Vince McMahon and leaving the company with the championship. And CM Punk's condition ends up being that he wants John Cena to just say that CM Punk is the best in the world. John Cena says he can't do that, blah blah blah, because if he wants to beat somebody, he has to think that he's the best or something like that. And eventually John Cena says, if I'm not gonna say it, so if you want to pick somebody else, you can pick somebody else, but if you refuse this match, then he has no respect for CM Punk. So he just leaves, and then CM Punk goes back to Jerry the King Lawler. He tells him to get in the ring, so he gets in the ring. CM Punk demands an apology, so, the King gives him his apology. But then CM Punk tells him to, since John Cena didn't say it, to say that CM Punk is the best in the world. Jerry the King Lawler says he can't do that, and then, he tells CM Punk, okay, now I need to go do my job. He goes to leave, but CM Punk kicks him in the back of the head, thus knocking him out. And that's it for the end of the show. So, as far as Raw tonight, it was, I guess, an okay show. I don't know, actually, it wasn't that okay. I didn't really enjoy the show. And there's just way too many recaps. I know SmackDown in the past used to be like, the show where you had a bunch of Raw recaps, but this extra hour they added, has more recaps than SmackDown, the whole 2 hours of SmackDown, I think. They show these recaps, they show, recaps of SummerSlam and recaps of Raw and WWE.com exclusives. So, yeah. Anyways, that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, you can click that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Check out WrestlingGamer.com, check out the Facebook page, and expect some more videos soon. See ya.